Why are there so many religions in the world? Why are there so many conflicting ideologies competing for people's allegiance? And why have human efforts to achieve peace and happiness failed over and over again? The real reason, because we have been deceived. Everything we know is upside down and backwards. Everything we have been told by well-minded people has been either half wrong or completely wrong. Yeah, if a person's telling you a lie, even if they're not lying, even if they believe it, doesn't make it right. Now let's start with this. The Bible describes a powerful spirit being known as the God of this world that has and continues to deceive the entire world. The scriptures refer to the spirit being as by various names like the adversary, Satan, the devil, the evil one, the great dragon, the serpent of old, and Lucifer. The God of this world has also been described as the God of this age, who has blinded human beings to the real source of truth. As the ruler of this world and the prince of power of the air, stuff's in there. This adversary influences human thought processes by broadcasting his warped ideas, which unsuspecting people pick up in their minds and assume are their own. Now, this is the ultimate source of the perversions that have influenced so many religions, ideologies, and cultures in the world. Since a deceiver is described as a murderer and a liar, and as the father of lies, it is no wonder that the world has experienced so much trouble, tragedy, and bloodshed down through history. In society in general, and even among believers, there is a false idea and a misconception that the majority is usually right, and whatever is most popular is probably the best way to do things. Yeah, is that ever wrong? This is dead wrong. The majority is almost always wrong. Why? Because most people are deceived. They are being deceived by the great deceiver himself and his minions on earth who are currently in positions of power and running our society to their advantage. Perhaps no other figure in modern human history has been talked about, attacked, demonized, and slandered more than this charmer. The Bible speaks a lot about deception and deceivers. In fact, one of the first deceptions found in the Bible was allegedly committed when the serpent tempted Eve by deceiving her into eating forbidden fruit. I personally see this story as upside down and backwards. The true God's messenger was trying to make us aware of the deception that we were in. Later, Jesus told them that their father is a liar and the father of all lies. We read that in the last days, evil men and impostors will grow worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. So if evil men and impostors are growing worse and worse, much of the populace must be believers, and our society is going to hell in a handbasket. And could it be that some of the deceivers have been in authority? The church and the rest of us have been deceived into believing demons exist elsewhere. Not in my house. Because deception is a subject which many believers struggle with. That alone opens the door for deception to sprout. Such small seeds create large trees. And if the enemy can coerce us into fear, that gives him the open door to proceed with watering the seed of fear. We fertilize it with fear food. It's the what-if principles that feed fear. Fear is arguably one of the two most powerful motivators of human beings, with the other one being love. To many, it seems as though the mainstream media capitalizes on school shooting, acts of terrorism, and swings in the economy to control the populace. And to this increasing stress of, it's almost like it's a design, isn't it?
It sounds that way. Couldn't have pulled it off any better had they planned it.
Now, add to this the increasing stress of the middle and lower classes just to pay their bills. We are left scared and confused with the world turning to giant corporations for faster and artificially produced foods that are detrimental to our health. And just to get more out of our funds, there are pharmaceuticals to mitigate stress and anxiety. We are terrified that supposedly dangerous immigrants are seeking to infiltrate our country. Well, maybe they are. We're scared into buying weapons to protect ourselves from the attackers that we see in the media and our own government threatening to take away these rights. Now, what a deceived world we find ourselves in. What's the poem? Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice. However, sometimes the enemy is not the enemy, and we are deceived into believing the opposite of the truth. The great deceiver is very mindful of the things of man. He knows just what appeals to people, and he uses this knowledge to tailor enticements to their individual weaknesses. And pretty much he can just sit back and let us be people. For him to come among God's people as a roaring lion would be very unappealing to most of them. But just like the Jews, if he comes in as an angel of light with pleasant teachings and a smile on his face, that's very difficult for other believers. Now, no wonder many are deceived. The world is under the control of a nefarious order, no matter what you call it, but just how far-reaching are his tentacles. It may surprise you how much you don't know, but then again, their plan was designed so that you would never realize just how far their power truly extends. All the while, we seem to be in a situation that our protectors are actually our prisoners. To keep us from uniting for a common cause of freedom of mind and body, the free world is perpetually subjected to things that divide us. Liberals against conservatives, blue states versus red states, people of color against old white men, rich against poor, and so on and so on. The mainstream education system does not encourage free thinking. Instead, it's creating followers, and the children who do not comply and sitting quietly in their seats are placed on drugs at a young age. More damaging still is the fact that modern education is a complex, deceiving, brainwashing system designed to teach the version of the world that they want us to believe is real. When we're falsely taught what the world is, we cannot see beyond the scope of what we've been programmed to believe. And belief systems limit our access to spirit and truth. Now, through science and religion, the God of this world has crafted a deceptive lens which we view the world through. This ensures that we do not go beyond where they want us to be. They control our power of creative thinking, dreaming, and manifesting, diluting our ability to trust and know ourselves. In doing so, they have made us believe that everything is fine and dandy. And when we recognize that everything we think we know is a deception, we can then lift the veil to take actions to awaken and restore our God-given abilities. Yeah, it's time to wake up.